Power! Power! What do you think is powerful? Well, what do you think? Is it race cars? Is it engines? Is it tractor pulls? I don't know. We're going to think about today, what is power? So our text this week, as we've been talking about, is from the very end of the book of Luke, chapter 24. And so Jesus tells his disciples, he says, guys, I need you to wait. And so we talked a little bit about waiting last time, but what were they waiting for? They were waiting for power from on high. Now, when I think about power, I think about a crazy loud organ, or I think about a truck with a huge engine, right? Or I think about a table saw and being real careful when I'm ripping a 2x4. But Jesus says, wait from power on high. And when this power does show up, it's the power of the Holy Spirit. And what does that power do? None of the things that we would expect of something powerful, right? Like, the gun show is that way, right? It's not that at all. The power that shows up gives the disciples the ability to, they speak in tongues. And then it gets Peter to stand up and preach. This power seems to be about telling the truth, seeing the truth, and seeing God in the face of our neighbors. It helps the disciples to care for others. That's interesting. That power is made perfect very specifically here in weakness. It's not at all like to lift heavy things or for horsepower or to mow thick brush or to use an excavator to dig. It's none of those things. I think our baptism is a fantastic place to think about what God's power is and what power really looks like. Because God does have great strength and power and all those things that we think about. But God's power is used for something different. The way to understand God's power and strength most clearly is to look, of course, at Jesus. And is to think about what it is that Jesus did and what that accomplished. In Jesus' death, he gave himself up. He didn't act. But his death was a mark of his great strength to walk into the absolute worst situation with his head held high and to give it all for everyone else. This is what power could be used for. And in his death and resurrection, he saved all of us. He raised us all. That's power. Ultimately, love then is the power that the Spirit enables us to see Jesus in our neighbors, and for us to love others. This is the power that we're talking about in the book of Luke today. So I wonder, what are some ways you could use your power? Could you, like Jesus, find a way to serve your neighbor? Or maybe to restrain yourself, or to have mercy, or to forgive? I don't know. How will you use your power? What is power for? Where does it come from? Things to think about this week. Thanks for joining me. This is Pastor Chris, signing off from Trinity Lutheran Church in Cyrus for Now at Devotions. Bye-bye. Hey, if this video has been useful to you, go ahead and share it with a friend. I'll bet it'll be useful to them too.